everyone, Ross here from Warrior Trading. So in this episode, I'm going to do January in review the metrics, review the profits for the month of January. As always, reminder, my results are not typical. Trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money, so make sure you trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. If you're a new viewer, this is the first time you've been watching a video here, make sure you hit the thumbs up, would love that, and hit the subscribe button. I go live for my day trading morning show Monday through Friday, every day. I do about between 30 and 45 minutes live on YouTube, and then I broadcast the rest of the day to students that are part of the Warrior Trading community. But I give YouTube a little sneak preview every day of my watch list and a couple stocks that I'm watching. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get the notification when I go live and you can tune right in. All right, so with that, let's jump into January in review. It was a wild month. I made some nice progress. I made over $100,000. And then I gave it all back. I finished the month up just $25,000. While for many, $25,000 might seem like a fantastic month, I was left feeling a little disappointed at the end of the month. Having been up over 100 and giving it back was not fun. So we're gonna break down the ups and the downs of January. As always, if you have questions, you have comments, please leave them down below. Love to see those and love to give you guys some feedback. And if I can be a resource, I'm happy to be that. So feel free to throw some questions my way and I'll answer you down in the comments. All right, let's get into the metrics of January in review. All right, well, what a month. January 2022, off to a great start, and I'll compare it a little and contrast it against the last few years, just to sort of give perspective. Would have done better without a couple of really big red days, as you can see right here, a $39,000 red day and another one right there. Those are not fun red days, no doubt about it. I got myself up to about $108,000 on the month, and then I proceeded to have one good size red day here, which was $16,000, small red day here, and then a big red day there. And at that point, after that red day right there, I had given back about half my profit on the month. I then had a small green day, and then emotionally fueled red day again right there. So, as I look at the month, this is so typical of me in a lot of ways. I have these hot streaks where I do well, and then I'll have cold streaks where I give back profit. The only thing here that's kind of interesting when you look at this is that my daily goal is $20,000, and I only had, these 3 days were right at the daily goal. So like the first 2 weeks of the month were kind of, they were good, but they weren't phenomenal. I mean, I made $108,000, but they weren't like huge green days. They were just kind of decent. And so something that I was struggling with at the beginning of January, last year was such a phenomenal year for me, and so was the year before, that I have this pressure that I've been putting on myself. It's the beginning of the new year, January. I need to have a really great start. I made $3.8 million last year. Again, as always, my results are not typical, but man, that was a phenomenal year. And if I'm going to do that again, I need to be averaging 300 grand a month. That means I need to be hitting $50,000, $75,000 a week. And so I need to be, really keeping that goal. Now, the reality is, I'll just take out my calculator real quick. So, $75,000 divided by 5. That's so, $15,000 daily goal would still have me tracking for a $3.8 million year. But that's only if I didn't have any red days. And we know that that's not reality. So I felt the pressure at the beginning of 2022. And then I ended up taking a long weekend here. I think the market was closed this Monday. It was a market holiday on Monday, and I went on vacation. So I took the day off on Friday, which is like no big deal. I came back on Wednesday. I sat down on Wednesday and basically immediately went into the red, and I never recovered. I went into the red. I tried to recoup. I dug the hole deeper. So, it's like I had one loss, tried to bounce back, cut it in half, took the next trade to try to get back to green, and ended up going all the way back to down almost 10,000. And before you know it, it's not even 10:30 and I'm down 16 grand. So I dug myself a hole pretty quickly. I never went green on that day. I just went right into the red. The next day I came in and I traded a little later. I made 115 bucks on the first trade and then lost 2,800 on the second trade. So not great. And then I come in on Friday and I got smoked. I mean, I got totally smoked on this trade, SVFD. And it shows here that I was green and then flipped and went red. I'd have to go and actually look at the recap for that day. Sometimes the metrics will show this if my like unrealized was in the green, but this one was a disaster. And I look at the chart on it. What ended up happening, so this was, let's see, it was January 21st. Yeah, it was kind of a ridiculous thing. Let me just pull the chart up on another screen and then I'll move it over. So where was it? This was totally me being too aggressive. And so what we had here, it was so ridiculous. So this stock pre-market squeezed up and then it dropped all the way back down. Then it squeezed back up here and then got annihilated straight back down. And I traded it on this break of VWAP right in here. This was the trade. And I got crushed. I mean, it went into a halt up at 80. It resumed and just nailed back down. And the problem was I took too much size. Why did I take so much size? No doubt I was trying to recover the losses of the previous 2 days. I knew I was down 16,000 on Tuesday. I was down another 2,500 on Wednesday. I was trying to make it back. I stepped up to the plate. I took a big swing and I got a big strikeout, 40 grand in the red, just totally terrible. And then, Monday I had a small green day. And then on Tuesday, I came back in and basically immediately, first trade was red, got green for a second. Then I was down 5,000 and then I got smoked. And let's look at SRRA. So let's see, back this out here for a second. So SRRA got me pretty good. And let me look at the chart. So this was on the 25th. I mean, this was like, it was disgusting. Really similar setup. So this was it's like the same setup, and this is kind of the funny thing is, when patterns are working, you'll like start to get dialed in and do really well. And then when they start failing, if you're not fast to recognize it, you are just going to fall into a trap again and again and again. I fell into the same trap basically 2 days in a row. But look at this move. This was clean. It broke VWAP, micro pullback, and then it rips from 23 bucks up to 25.42, halts up. On resumption, boom, all the way back down. Total flop. Just total flop. And I don't know why that happened. I don't know the rhyme or reason why that one failed. And then we'll have another one, that ends up going all the way back to the pre-market highs. But it's part of trading. Some of them work and some of them don't. So, highlighting a couple of the bigger red trades there, for sure, emotional. I mean, and that's like my biggest weak point, my biggest struggle is that I get too emotional when I trade. And, when I'm hot, when I'm trading well, I crush it. I can do so well. But when I start sliding and kind of losing it a little bit, I end up seeming to lean into those losses and they get bigger and bigger. And, I've thought about different things like, if I go like, should I set my max loss at like $1? Like the second I go red, just stop and walk away. Well, the biggest green day I ever had, which was January of 2021, actually started in the red. So we can look at January of 2021. So this was a very interesting start. I started, a nice green day and then gave it all back, over traded big time, 75 trades on Tuesday, over a year ago. and then small green day, and then big red day, green day, $66,000 red day, green day, $50,000 in the red in these 2 days. And then holy smokes, there's 478,000 bucks, 217,000. What was going on this week? GameStop. This is the best week of my career right there. That was GameStop. And it carried into the month of February. So I had a fantastic January and a great February. But the fact is, January of 2021 actually started in the red. I went down over $100,000 before recovering thanks to GameStop. So the metrics on a high level last year, about a 1-to-1 profit loss ratio, $3,000 winner, $3,600 loser, accuracy 62%, total profit $750,000. All right, so that certainly makes 2022 feel rather insignificant. The net profit, the gross profit before fees and commissions was 47,000, but because I was over trading, I generated a lot of fees and a lot of commissions. So my net profit, like 25,000, 26,000. I mean, I got to go back to there. It was nothing. It feels like it was nothing. At the same time, let's go back to 2019. Let's go back to 2019. 2019 was 73,000 net. Let's look at 2020. 2020 was, flat, right? So all things considered, 2022 being at 27,000 or whatever it was, 25,000. It's not my best month ever, but it is green. It keeps my head above water. And it just happened that I find myself really dealing with that emotional side of trading, the pressure of having had a 7-figure year and it being the beginning of a new year, that I feel like I have to get my cushion as quickly as I can to try to get back to being up, once I'm up 500,000 or $1 million on the year, I start to feel like I'm moving in the right direction. But from day one of January, I'm starting at zero. And there's a lot of pressure. And there's certainly a fear that any trader will have of, going red. What happens if I'm red on the year? What happens if I'm red on the month? What happens if I'm red on the whole year? Because then you're having those thoughts of, back when I was a beginner trader, have I lost my touch? And that fear, I think most traders will always have it, because learning to trade is so difficult. The stakes feel so high. And so when you're at the beginning of a new month or the beginning of a new year, you have to be especially cautious around that feeling coming up of the desperation to prove yourself, the fear of, being red. And so the biggest thing that you can do is have acceptance around that feeling, to have awareness around it, that you are feeling that way, to try to avoid falling into the trap of acting on those behaviors. Because sometimes we could become so meshed with that emotion that it becomes us, the emotion of the fear, that we actually become, rather than being like, I have this kind of like, reoccurring thought that's sort of bothersome. It becomes that this is my consciousness. Like, this is how I'm looking at things, and I'm making decisions based on the fear. So when you start making decisions based on fear, based on emotion, you start getting desperate, losses can happen, and they can stack up quickly. And in 3 days here, I went from being in control to really not being in a very good position of control. All of a sudden I'd given back more than half of my monthly profit. I was starting to face those questions of, what if I have a red month? What if I start the month in the red? We're probably not going to have another GameStop. So, and that's when you start having these thoughts spiral and cycle. And so it's something to be aware of. Beginner traders can have it just as much as experienced traders. And that's why we say such a big part of trading is mindset. It's trying to really be like starting every single day without the baggage. Start at zero, just with nothing. And that's so much easier said than done. So, the last 3 days of January, I pulled it together to finish up, basically with 3 days of profit, $25,000. It was not what I was wanting. I wasn't super, super happy with that. But at the same time, that was a start. And then, February ended up being actually pretty good. So you guys can watch, the recaps in February or February in review to see that in more detail. But a little bit of a rough start on the year. And, I think something that's certainly a factor is everything that's going on in the S&P 500, what's happening in the market. The global markets have been, this is something, so if we go back to, just through January here, let's see, what is this? So this right here is January. So this significant pullback in the overall market down to below the 200 moving average. This is a time where the market is pulling back, and I usually trade better when the market is stronger. Now, because I'm trading stocks that have a catalyst, a reason to move, I can find opportunities in bear markets. I can find opportunities in cold markets, but they're fewer and a little further between. I have to be more selective, and I'm not really good at that. And then when you combine emotion, that's when it can be a problem. When I'm really emotionally sort of I don't want to say state, but when I'm like kind of very centered and I'm just like very calm, very cool, very composed, that's the time when I'm going to be able to look and very clearly say, this is this is a nice quality setup, but the market's not strong enough to take this trade, so I'm not going to take it. When I'm in a moment of having just taken a big loss or feeling frustrated, I'm much more likely to be sort of seeing things through the lens with some desperation of, I want to make back that loss. Therefore, I'm willing to lower my quality standard and take a B or C quality trade if it has the chance of getting me out of the hole. And so that's something I have to be really careful of. Of course, during my years of trading, we've had periods where we've seen pullback. Some have been larger than others. Like we had this huge pullback in March of 2020 with COVID and everything. And then the rally, we had this pullback right here in 2018, which at the time was pretty significant. So, I've traded through these pullbacks, and it's just not a surprise that if the market's down really, really big, it's hard to make a lot of money trading something to the long side unless it has a very obvious reason to be moving higher. And a rising tide lifts all ships, but that goes both ways. So you just have to be a little bit careful there when things are slow. So anyways, my January was not the big start that I was hoping to have for the year, but I did finish in the green. I built a little bit of a cushion, and I continued that through the month of February. So anyways, that's kind of where I'm at there. I just wanted to give you guys that review. And as always, just as a reminder, my results are not typical. Trading is risky. So please, I urge you to be cautious and to trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. Students who are trading at Warrior Trading, you guys have access to a simulator that we give you, which allows you to practice in real-time market data side by side with me. And then you can really see whether or not you've got what it takes to flip the switch and go live. All right, so that's January month in review. 5 red days, all clustered together. Just the luck of the draw. The market got a little bit cold here, and I didn't ease off the throttle quick enough. So I have some room for progress, but a green month nonetheless, and we'll be back at it, as always. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you real soon.
And that right there was an entire video with no ads. I don't monetize my YouTube channel with video ads, which means you guys get to enjoy the content. But do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up and let YouTube know that this channel is the channel to watch if you want to learn about day trading.